slush upon the hillside. By 9 p.m. the moonlight must appear. In short, there's simply
The spectacular season opener of Camelot at the Arvada Center sings with a fresh approach to this classic warhorse play.
And here in Camelot.
On stage, it is magnificent. Behind the scenes, fascinating. From the set to the costumes to the fights, here is your inside view.
It's what I like to refer to as historical fiction, because there really is no historical facts based on Arthur and the Arthurian legends.
Yet director Rod Lansbury and team have dug up plenty of dramaturgical evidence to create their fresh version of Camelot. And they were hard at work long before actors arrived.
It really is based on the legends of King Arthur, and the book itself, Lerner and Loewe's original production, is based on T.H. White's The Once and Future King.
Though the play is set generally around the 15th century, the legends of Arthur actually trace back to the 5th century. Studying the stories, the books, the time periods is all part of the creative process that brings it to the stage.
So it's a really integral piece of the process in having that background and helping the actors and their characterizations come to life.
Whether it's the fabrics they wear, the weapons they bear, or the dialects they speak, every facet is carefully chosen. The set, under construction for weeks before rehearsals, adds its own dramatic flair.
Rod's vision for the setting was to create a whole new world that was particular to our own version of Camelot. And he pulled from ideas of being in the forest, from ideas of going on a quest in a video game and trying to update what we feel is the classical style of how the show is normally done. So we're really set in quite a fantasy.
A fantasy world designed and built on solid research.
When I was researching, I found that the original group of Celtic people actually settled the British Isles even before the Romans or Anglo-Saxons took over. So that made our foundation for the scenic design really make a lot of sense. And then it also gave us some creative license to add that fantasy aspect in as well.
With touches of Celtic design woven in, the set cleverly brings the audience to multiple locations.
The window comes in, and then the window acts as the back of the headboard for that scene too, when the bed is in. And this is kind of cool. We created our own emblem for King Arthur's court.
Meanwhile, in another corner of the Arvada Center, machines are kept busy stitching the creations of costume designer Claire Henkel.
This is a really big build for the shop, and I know it's putting a lot of pressure on them, but there is still nothing like drawing a picture of something, buying the fabric, and then seeing it come to life.
Henkel created multiple designs for King Arthur, Lancelot, and Lady Guinevere, along with the Knights of the Round Table, doing her own research and collaborating with Lansbury.
And this can all be shortened. We can put product in it and spike it out.
Soft, feminine looks in rich fabrics dominate Guinevere's wardrobe.
This is a really beautiful kind of penne velvet that is for the character of Guinevere. There'll be some painted silver trim around the neckline and down the sleeves too. This is for her queen's robe, which you can see here, and the lining of that. This is where Arthur's symbol is on her robe.
Designs include more rugged looks for King Arthur, Lancelot, and the knights.
The men are a lot burlier. There's a lot of things like chainmail for the knights or fake chainmail. So this is what we're sort of faking it with. It's a knit fabric that's been painted with a metallic paint, much more lightweight, a lot less noisy than wearing real chainmail.
Many costumes, especially for the knights, reflect nationalities rather than a specific time period.
They came to Camelot. They weren't from Camelot.
So Welsh, German, French, different regions of the UK are all represented.
And because heraldry was so important, I chose different colors for different knights, and they'll also have that echoed on their shields and sometimes on part of their armor too.
One of the ideas or inspirations, I suppose, for the violence was some of the dark violence that's on the Game of Thrones show right now. It's a dark medieval world, lots of fantasy, lots of magic and darkness.
Fight director Benaya Anderson is an expert in fight choreography and weapons.
I'm a member of a local group that actually does medieval research into these medieval fight manuals. So my research is kind of also my martial arts hobby. I get to fence with two-handed swords and fight with people who are actually trying to hit me, and we wear safety equipment, of course. But it allows the fights that I then choreograph to look more realistic and to look more violent and more accurate.
For Camelot, he chose swords of the medieval period that the play is set in.
So the swords that we've got sort of fit that time period better than what may or may not have been the historical King Arthur. The longer one would be a knightly two-handed sword that would be used with a knight usually wearing a lot of armor, because he doesn't need a shield. He's got armor on his body, so he can use his sword in both hands. The shorter one would generally be accompanied by a shield in the left hand and the sword in the right hand, so that you could block and attack at the same time. These swords are both aluminum, which makes them a lot lighter for the actors to hold and carry. An average sword of this size, the two-handed sword, would weigh about 3 pounds, which is a little bit lighter than most people think. Since it's light, I can also use it with one hand and look really heroic.
With its overarching theme of an idealistic place and time known as Camelot, presented as only the Arvada Center can do it, the season opener promises a fresh and intimate look at a classic.
It's exciting to me to take that war horse and bring it to a new audience in a new way. And I think it will enhance the audience's experience.
Camelot opens September 10th, and due to its popularity, will have an extended run through October 6th. For tickets and showtimes, call the box office at 720-898-7200 or go online to arvadacenter.org.